Hello and welcome back to Primal Attraction. I'm your host, Melamality, and oh my god, I'm so sorry I've been away for what feels like forever, but oh guys, have I had the wildest, let's say, month. It's been a crazy, crazy month. My life feels like it's completely out of my hands, and you know what? I'm learning that that is okay. I've always been a very, you know what, I'm not controlling, but I'm really controlling of myself and I'm really controlling of what is going on and how I'm perceived and all of these things. And the last 2 weeks has taught me that I have zero control in so many aspects of life, if not all. It's not a case of life happens to you. It's a case of life happens for you, and I really believe in that. I always have, but the last couple of weeks has really, really shown me that. And I'm really grateful that it has. So without further ado, I want to get into it. I want to talk about something that I've realized is really fucking important and something that I've been struggling with for a while, really kind of grasping this idea that life isn't going to be this perfect picture and plan that I had when I was like 16. I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm the kind of person that subscribes to social timelines. I mean, I think all of us do in one way or another. Like, it's bred into us from a young age. We go to school, we do our key stage, whatever the fucks, and then we like go straight into secondary, and from secondary it's sixth form or college, and then college turns into uni, and if it's not uni then it's an apprenticeship, and these are things that are taught and deeply entrenched within us of like, between these years I'm going to be doing this, and then through these years this will be where my life is at. Obviously, once you pass the point of education, that starts to turn into life and love and everything else that's as important as anything, right? I remember thinking about my timeline of my life. I must have been so young, but I remember the scheduling to this day, and I must admit I'm very fucking I'm far behind on this list of things that I have to complete, or I told myself I have to complete. But it started along the lines of, by the age of 18, I would have found a steady relationship and the love of my life. I would be studying, I would graduate, I would go into a good paying job, and eventually I would have a house, probably at the age of maybe 22, 23. I'd look to get married around the age of 26. I'd want to be proposed to at 24 because I would be too young to get married any earlier, so we could have a long relationship, a 2-year engagement. And then at the age of 26, I would be a newlywed. I'd want to spend 1 or 2 years with my partner being a newlywed, because there's probably a massive difference in being one of those. And then the kids would start to pop out. I'd have 3, and I'd aim to finish by the age of 32. With all of that said and done, I must admit I think I was on that plan for a long time. I was with someone that I thought I would marry and I'd have the kids and the whole shebang with. But after I left that, and you kind of like, you look around and you're like, right, who's next? Who can I create this ideal with? Because I feel, or I felt like I couldn't do it alone. I needed someone else there. I realized that it's not guaranteed. Falling in love and finding the right person is not one of life's guarantees. And I've said this before, life's guarantees are death and taxes. 100%. I live by that wholeheartedly. Death is the one thing in life that I know is coming for me, right? I don't know if love's coming. I don't know if the perfect job is coming. I don't even know if I'm ever going to be financially stable, if I'm going to be homeless. Like, God knows what is coming for me. But death is the one thing that I 110% know. It took a long time for me to mourn this fairy tale, right? Because it's a fairy tale. this perfect life. If it is perfect, I don't know. I've not experienced it, but we think it is, right? I really had to mourn it. I had to grieve this version of my reality that I thought I had the privilege of expecting in life, and then I realized that I don't. Now, mourning something like having children with a partner and having a partner full stop, having the house, having the security, the safety, someone to come home to, all of these incredibly beautiful things was hard. I actually had to sit there and really think about the reality of that, the reality of being alone, and was I okay with that? And I think that's why I really started focusing on solo dating. I went on a solo trip recently and like going to concerts on my own, going to dinner on my own, doing the things that I want to do, not waiting for someone else to come along with me, and not being shy to do them alone, because at the end of the day, I am the only person that I have. Realistically, like at the drop of a hat, I am the only person I have. And I thought I was doing really well mourning this idea of myself. I thought I cracked it. I said, I'm in such a happy place right now on my own. Am I? I don't know. But I'm in a place where I feel comfortable and safe and secure in my own solitude. If someone came along, it would be a massive addition to my life. It would be a cherry on top, creme de la creme, whatever the fuck. But I always wanted the kids. I always wanted the family. So I said, if I reach the age of, 35, 36, and nothing is on the horizon, I will happily go it alone. There are other methods out there. But then I also realized, actually, hang on, that's not guaranteed. That in itself isn't guaranteed. My fertility isn't guaranteed. My life isn't guaranteed. My timings aren't guaranteed. I could drop dead next week, right? I can't be like, I'm going to wait until the age of 26 and until the age of 36, sorry. And that's not to say that now I'm like, oh, I must live for now. And you know what? I'm going to go out and get pregnant next week. That's not what I'm saying by any means, shape or form. I'm not in a position for a child right now, unfortunately, as much as I would love to be. But when I was out in Bali, I want to say I hate myself for this. I don't. I just find it very fucking comical, because I used to take the piss at the like the old Gupyar kids that would say, oh, I went to Bali and I found myself, or like I went to India and you know whatever the fuck. But I fucking went to Bali. I eat, pray, loved my way through the fucking country. Actually, I eat, pray, slayed. And I found some really uncomfortable truths about myself. Number one being this real sense of abandonment and rejection that felt so uncomfortable and took me on a massive tangent and just sidetracked me for a couple of days. And I was like, where the fuck has that come from? And I really had to sit with that feeling. This is probably, again, not going on a tangent from the actual topic, which is mourning social timelines, but mourning a reality of myself here. The realization that I struggle with, I can validate myself for days, right? I can do it. I can make myself do it. I can try. I can feel it naturally sometimes, but I'm very much so in the boat of fake it till you make it and then make it until you believe it. And in this instance, I validated myself, but then I realized that I was also seeking external validation. And when that didn't come, it made me feel very deeply insecure and uncomfortable with the reality of being in my body and my mind. At the time, I didn't know why, and it made me even more terrified of that emotion and that feeling, because I thought I'd worked so hard to surpass it. It was great to feel and see this reflection of myself so I could deal with it then and there. A couple of days later, I really pondered on this and I meditated on it, and I thought about it quite heavily, and I realized that the reason I felt like that was a childhood wound from my father. And it's fucking, you know, one of those daddy issues things. I say that ironically, but no, it actually is. It actually is one of those things of my father, whilst he was very busy and great at what he was doing and whatever else, didn't know how to show love fully because he never experienced it or embraced it in his own childhood. Probably not embraced it, wasn't given it. And then that fell onto me through the generational trauma. And I realized that the moments and situations in which my father told me that I was beautiful or I was worthy or I was divine or whatever else was next to nothing, really. I remember I didn't really get those comments growing up as a younger child, which is probably when I needed it most. When I hit the age of puberty and I was in a position more so where my father was like, right, there are potential suitors coming for my daughter now. God, that sounds ridiculously patriarchal and archaic, doesn't it? But that's the truth. The suitors were coming through and my dad was conscious of who the fuck I'm going to marry. Then he would comment and say, oh yes, you look very nice today, or you look beautiful. Or like if we were going to a Sri Lankan gathering, he'd be like, yeah, wonderful, like so-and-so's son will be there, whatever. I was not interested, mind you. I was like, get me the fuck out. But that was really when those comments were made. And those comments weren't just because it was because I was as a means to an end. And the means to the end was to find a partner. So my value for my beauty came on desire and how other people would desire and want me, as opposed to just me. And to deep, that was really fucking sad. And to realize that all of this like aching and longing that I had for external validation came from one simple thing that I was lacking. And then I had to realize and understand how I could give that to myself, because no one else is going to do it for me. I can't expect that from the world, and I don't want to expect that from any men or my future partner if I'm so lucky. I want that to come from me, because otherwise it's all for nothing, right? The whole, I'm not breaking any trauma there. So with that, how the fuck do I find a way to validate my own beauty without it being linked to desire? That's still a question that I'm trying to ponder now. It's something that's not 100% clear to me, but even talking about it is helping me understand that that is the direction that I need to go in. That is what I need to figure out for myself. But why is it that beauty and desire go so hand in hand? Is it a case of I need to surround myself with more powerhouses of women and stronger voices and, you know, calming maternal instincts? I don't know what the answer is. I'm just chatting shite right now. But anyway, that being said, let's get back onto it, which is mourning the timeline. So off the back of that, where did I go? Oh, that's what happened. I managed to deal with it. I managed to deal with that emotion, but I dealt with that emotion in the incorrect way. But it helped. It soothed it. It put a plaster over the wound. In itself, that highlighted to me that there was a disconnect between the way that I was regulating and dealing with my emotions. Another thing for me to unpack in my own time. But I then went on to have a very interesting encounter. It was completely unexpected. It was out of the blue. And it was terrifying, quite frankly. But it was equally beautiful. I think in the moment I felt more beauty for it. Afterwards, my entire nervous system was like, get the fuck out. Freaked out, terrified, scared, ran away like a little child internally. I don't think that presented externally, but I was out of there mentally. But this encounter completely, you know, nothing happened. It was fine, but it was very amazing and interesting for me to really understand myself and my own psyche through the conversations and through understanding and realizing that I had the potential to go really deep. I mean, I am a deep person in general, but to be authentic and true without a mask in front of seemingly a stranger. That was wild for me. But again, after I left that situation, it highlighted this social timeline thing and re-mourning that. Because as much as I thought I was over it, I was like, I don't need anyone. I am all good on my own. I'm not expecting anyone. I think that through that encounter that I'm very, very grateful for, I realized that I'm not fully over this timeline. It is something that I want. I mean, I say it time and time again. I want nothing more than to be a mother. I want nothing more than to have a beautiful family, a beautiful family unit, give my children the things that I always desired. This situation showed me that I was clinging on to and holding out for someone to just walk in my life and solve everything. And I had to sit with myself for a good while and realize that that's not the case. I can't expect anyone else to save me. I have to save myself. And re-mourning the timeline that I told myself again was crazy. But equally, I think that whatever happened happened with good reason, because it's catapulted me into this new timeline. Now, if you know me, you know that I refer to this phrase a lot. And bear with me when I say this, because you're all going to think that I'm fucking kooky. And to be quite frank, I am. But this is going to really put the cherry on top of it all. But I believe in this thing called timeline jumping. I'd never researched it. I've only ever experienced it. But I started having them when I was at university. So at least 8 years ago. But in essence, to me, what a timeline jump is, and bear with me here, it's like sometimes I'll just be doing the mundane, I'll be doing my day to day, and I feel this instant like leap out of my body. It's like a quick little jump. If I could put it in a measurement, it would be hang on, bear with me, like a 5.5 inch 5.5 inch jump. If you know me, you know why I'm giggling, because I measure in a very specific kind of way. But anyway, it's a 5.5 inch jump out of my body, it feels like. And I get dizzy and I kind of lose myself for a split second. It's short, it's quick, I know when it happens. Some wiggy shit starts happening instantaneously. Whether it's the weather or whether it's like... Usually blue lights for me is a big indicator, but anyway. My last one was... 2 nights before I left Bali, I was having dinner with one of my great friends, Molly. If you're listening to this, Molly, I love you lots. I love you so, so much. But we were just eating and I had a spoonful of food in my hand and I just doop, and said, Molly, I've just timeline jumped. She was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I explained it. And then I just said, in the next 3 months, my life is going to be unrecognizable. I don't know how. I don't know why, but I can tell you that much. And she was kind of like, okay. Okay, Melanie. I'm sure Molly is always one to believe what I say because she knows I'm always right. But she accepts all the shit that I say. But anyway, we move on. And then I come back to England, or I try to make my way back to England, shall we say. And I have this... Oh my God, guys, this trip was full of omens. Oh my God, I thought I was going to die. Well, I say that, but honestly, I did. So, first and foremost, I had this aching feeling that something wasn't going to go right. I made sure to get to the airport uber early. I was there, checked in, had this aching feeling that I should not check in my luggage, which I didn't. Luckily, I just had a small backpack. And I cracked on with the day, got on the flight. I remember I passed out instantaneously. Nothing was going to wake me up. I can't even remember like the health and safety thing. I was gone before that. So the best I've ever slept on a flight. I remember waking up. There was food in front of me. That was my first memory. But anyway, I opened the window and oh my God, the sky is full of stars. It was beautiful. And like, this sounds kooky, but they just felt so close and they felt so big. And I just felt like I was a part of everything. And it was beautiful. But then, boom, turbulence. Out of the blue, like it's proper, like not good. It's like, like there was a point at which I was like, right, if we're going to go down, I'm going to listen to whatever music I want to listen to. For some reason, it was fucking ABBA. God knows why. But anyway. The turbulence is going and I'm just like, may as well sleep through it. And I have this weird in-between vision nightmare situation. And I'm going down. The first thing that comes to mind is be grateful for the interactions that you've had and the encounters that you've had. And you should express that. And it's a shame if you live your life and you never get to express that. So I was like, oh, I really should, but no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. It's too scary for me. But anyway, I fall asleep. And at this point, I'm like, there's something amiss here. Something's not going right for me. Anyway, we land. All good, all hunky-dory, not dead. And we try to get through border control. At this point, this is my first time like solo traveling with 2 connections, and to do a self-transfer, I was shitting bricks to say the least. So I'm kind of there like angsty, I'm on edge, I'm kind of looking for someone that looks remotely like they're a traveler or like me or fairly attractive. Fairly attractive jokes. I found a girl that was eating a bag of crisps and I thought that's my kind of girl. This is a high stress situation and she's practically mellow as eating like some Indonesian what's-its. She's my go-to. We end up standing in the queue. She talks me off the ledge, explains the process if I miss my flight. We actually have a really great conversation. I'm so sad that I didn't get any of her contact details because we didn't think in China, considering all the things that you're not allowed out there. But it didn't come into our minds. I get no after no after no after no after no from border control. She goes through, never to be seen again. Emily, if you're hearing this, you're a legend. I hope it works out for you. But eventually, maybe 2-3 hours in, I get this special visa or whatever the fuck it is to get through, just to check back in. That was my aim, right? My aim was get out, check straight back in, get on my flight. I get to the check-in desk. They close 9 minutes earlier for my flight, so I'm fucked at this point. I'm exhausted. I'm knackered. By the way, guys, if you're ever traveling through China, I cannot urge you enough. Find alternative ways of being able to contact your friends if you're in a problem spot. Get the email addresses. I'm not 100% sure if Google works out there. It didn't for me, so maybe use your work email or a different email address if it's a Gmail. I ended up messaging a friend on Strava. That's how desperate I got. So that's just to put it in perspective. Make sure that you've got alternative ways of communicating with your loved ones. Because when I got to that hotel, I was like, how the fuck am I going to tell anyone that I'm not coming home? But anyway, all that being said and done, everything felt like no-no-nos. So instantly I knew that some big shift is happening. In the morning, obviously I'm angsty, I'm ready to go. I'm like, get me on this fucking flight. I need to get out of the fucking country right now. And as soon as I put my backpack on my bag, I remember the strap just pinged. The strap just pinged off. It was a goner. I had to double knot it back together. That bag I can safely say it's in the bin because I got back and the zip was fucking broken. All my clothes were on the floor. It was fucking tragic. But anyway, From that point, I was like, something's going to go wrong. Something is going to go fucking wrong. Get to the airport. Guess whose flight is delayed? This bitch is. After all of these fucking shenanigans, I managed to get home. And China was just the beginning of it all. You would think that it would be plain sailing from there, right? And I suppose to an extent, it depends how you're going to look at this story. It has been. But anyway, I get home. I go to work the next day. And I feel a shift. I feel a shift already. I feel like something's gonna happen. So I actually end up packing all of my stuff. And I took it home with me. And then when I was back in the office on the Wednesday, I got the decision that my contract at work wasn't going to be extended, which is fine, right? Life works like that. It's for a reason. I don't know why, but I felt like this great weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Now, it was a great job. It was a great place, great team, great mission, amazing vision. But it just wasn't me. And I really struggle with quitting things that aren't me because I feel terrible for disappointing people. But I realize that in disappointing myself, I disappoint other people. And I left obviously a bit sad because it's sad to see people, like sad to say goodbye, right? But so happy, so fucking happy. And then I got home and I thought, you know what? I'm never going to be this young again. I hope I'll be healthier in the future, but I'm never going to be in this condition. This is it. I'm at my peak right now. I'm at my fucking peak. So, whilst I was in Bali, I was getting sign after sign that I should consider moving. I should consider doing something else with my life, which I 100% agree with. So, on a whim, I just applied for a working visa to Australia, got it ridiculously quickly, and then I was starting to get all this random money just coming in that wasn't, there before. And I thought, yeah, this is something I have to do. But I gave myself a timeline and I said, June, I want to be in Australia before my birthday. But somehow I'm going to be moving to Australia in 10 days. Oh, how ridiculous am I? Yeah, I am that ridiculous. I will be moving to Australia in 10 days. It's very gung-ho. I have not thought this through. I've not prepared whatsoever. So, this isn't going to be a forever thing, most probably, but this is going to be... in your soul when you just feel like you've just got to take action, because if you don't take action, you'll never do it. And I'd rather go and fail, because at least then I've tried. Worst case scenario, I get a flight home. No harm, no foul. There is no shame in that. And I can always try again. It's not that deep. I don't really know where this episode has gone, but in essence, what I'm trying to say is... we have this social timeline in our minds, and I think that the best thing that we can do for ourselves and the people around us is just let go. Thinking that your life needs to be so regimented and in this way and this time and this schedule and whatever, you run the risk of getting lost. You run the risk of getting so lost. And I've been so lost in the past, and I'm so grateful that I found myself again. And to be able to just live free and do, and I've been handed it on a fucking platter right now, so I've got to take it, right? But it's insanity. I think that if I were thinking about this social timeline, my life right now would look very different. I would be on dating apps constantly. I'd be trying to find a father for my children and a partner. I would be looking to progress in different jobs and different careers to make that money. And whilst there is so much beauty to that reality, and whilst it works for so many people, in a way, I wish it worked for me, because it would make my life so much easier. Don't get it twisted. But that is not what I want for myself right now, and I don't think that's what's destined for me. And I think had I not mourned, had I not done all those solo things, whether that's a solo fucking coffee or a solo concert or a solo holiday, I would not have the confidence to just go, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to see it through until I can't anymore, and just be resilient and dedicated, not to a thing, but to myself and my desires and my intuition. Basically, I suppose what I'm trying to say is I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to turn out. It could turn out very badly for me. I could get so much egg on my face. But I would rather have egg on my face than nothing at all and not have lived. So, is there anything in life that you have been dying to do? Is there anything that you want to try? Do you want to go to that yoga class? Do you want to try that surfing lesson? Do you want to book a flight to Budapest? I don't know. Do you want to say yes to that date to the guy that's not actually your typical type? What is it that you want that you're not doing? You know? Is it even a matter of you just want to go to the cinema alone? Just do the thing. Just do the fucking thing. I say this because, as I said before, had I not done the solo things, I wouldn't do this. But equally, had I not done wearing a fucking crop top to the gym, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have worn a fucking triangle bikini at the beach. I wouldn't have had the confidence to just carry myself with grace and beauty regardless of how I felt in my body, and to change how I felt in my body. Like, all these tiny fucking micro things have the potential to create these massive chain reactions. So just do the fucking thing. Do it. Just do it. Honestly, you'll love yourself for it, and I will fucking love you too. So here's to the future. Please see what the journey is going to be. I'm going to take my mics with me to Australia. I'm going to document this whole fucking crazy journey. To my Sydney sisters, I'll see you soon. Oh my God, insanity. Such amazing insanity. Have the most amazing day wherever you are. Love, light, peace, whatever the fuck else words there are to say, they are being said. I love you enormously. Bye.